Good morning, good afternoon, good day, and good evening. Now, I don't know what time of day it is for you, but for me, it's the good time of day. Today, I am struggle streaming, right? I was initially, if I'm being perfectly honest about it, I was contemplating, do I get on the air today? Do I sit down and I talk to you guys about the thing that's really bothering me? One of these tell you why I'm mad situations. And initially, the answer to that was going to be no. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to take the first off. I was going to sit down here on the first. I wasn't going to sit there and put out any kind of content for you today. And the more I thought about it, the more I continue to think about it, the more I get to the point where I'm like, I need to put something out. Put something out in regards to what? Uh, that wasn't really the question. I knew exactly what it is that I wanted to put something out in regards to. I just was not sure if today was a good day for me to go about doing it because I'm still a little upset about it. I heard about it yesterday. I know that it's been trending here for many others but I just heard about it yesterday. And I guess it goes back a little bit for me to if anybody is listening to me, y'all know has a or knows me, you know that one of my favorite hip hop performers was or is not was is a guy by the name of Yasiin Bey. He used to be known by the name of Mos Def. Back in the day, he had an album called Black on Both Sides, which by far is one of his favorite albums of mine. But he had a song on there called Mr. Nigga. And it directly correlates. There's a line in there that directly correlates to what's bothering me, what it is I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm not going to take up a whole lot of your time today because, like I said, I didn't really put the information together the way that I normally would. And but it is something that I think that is really worth talking about, and it's this because one of the lines in his song is when he travels abroad, they got world nigga laws. Some people go overseas, go where they please, but when I go overseas, then I get overseas, right? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about today? Well, obviously, in the news, if you turn on any channel, one of the things that they're talking about on almost every station, every place, is this conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, right? So you have a conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, and everybody is dealing with this conflict. There it is on everybody's lips. Everyone has, even people that you might admire or people that I have a lot of affinity towards. Yes, but the one thing that everybody always seems to just brush under the table. Let's not talk about it. Let's ignore it. Let's pretend as if this didn't happen. Let's pretend as if these are things that are not going on. Is a situation that's going on with Black people, specifically Africans in this case. So they're not ADOS, but looking at Africans, people of darker skin, people with a lot more melanin in their skin, are being abused in the Ukraine. It'd be one thing if it was okay, there was a rule that only Ukrainians are able to leave or only these people, but when you're getting ready to have a war, when you see that there's going to be conflict coming, the thing that normally happens is that people who have been given residency, asylum, or whatever the immigration statuses of those individuals, they are allowed to leave when the war is coming. Americans, they looking at the war coming on right now, who are over there, who are in the Ukraine, were warned by America to get on out, and they get the opportunity to get on out. In other countries, France, Germany, or whatever, get on out, get out now. But if you're Black and you're from an African country, you're not afforded that same level of dignity to just get out without being first abused and beaten on your way out. And that is what I want to talk about today, because one of the things that I talk about it, and it's kind of esoteric, but when you look at the treatment of Black people, specifically Africans in the Ukraine right now, as they're trying to leave, they're being beaten, they're being denied, they're not being allowed to get on out there. And if you're going, okay, well, that's misinformation, it's false news, go to any news site, just put in there Africans not being allowed to leave the Ukraine. So they look at people who have melanin in their skin. If you're black, maybe if I were over there, if the moment I open my mouth, they might go, okay, American, and they allow me out. But the fact that you have melanin in your skin, that becomes a differentiator. That is how we're going to differentiate and say that you are not allowed to be treated as a human being, and we're not going to afford you, your country, or your countrymen, or your people the same kind of treatment that they need to be, that they need to have as human beings, that we would afford everybody else. Everybody else is allowed to leave. Everybody else is allowed to get out in the middle of a conflict that we see a war coming on, right? Not their war, not a reason why they need to be here, but yet and still, we as black people around the world, there is world nigga laws that are there specifically to keep down black people. And it's aggravating, it's upsetting. I'm watching it, and it's seeing it in real time. And it was one of the reasons I'm thinking to myself, maybe I don't need to get on and talk about it today, because it is upsetting. I don't have all the facts. I don't know all the information behind it. And then the more I'm looking at it, the more articles I'm looking at, the more articles I'm reading. And I'm looking at right now, let me see, because it's like, I'm not going to put any of them on, because from the tabloids such as TMZ to CNN to what's this other one, Barron's, to Indian and African news, everything, if you put it in Yahoo News, everybody is reporting on it, and everybody's talking about the fact that here it is, that racism has reared its head in the middle of a war, and everybody is applauding the Ukrainians, and everybody's saying that they're fighting for something that's just. And what they're also fighting for is to make sure that they can continue to be racist towards black people, regardless of whether or not they're from America. But if you're black, it's open season on you. And it is open season to make sure that black people are kept down and oppressed wherever we go. There is a systemic issue that we talk about here in the United States. And I recognize it because it's here in the United States. It's something that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's something I want to see us to be able to gravitate towards and to be able to come out of. And it takes a lot that we're going to need to do on our end. One of the things I really want to see if we can get away from is the image that's portrayed by us or of us on the air. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about. How do we get that image rehabbed? Can we get the image rehabbed? Right? Part of getting the image rehabbed is that we need to make some changes within our own community. And one of them is us being held accountable towards each other. That when we see these things, that we sit there and we call them out. We pointed out and we're doing a very good job of that. That's something that traditionally black people, we have been outstanding at calling out, at pointing out, at identifying racism whenever we see it. We can acknowledge it. We can see it. We say, hey, this is what it is. This is racist. We're being treated in a way that we should not be treated, in a way that is wrong, in a way that treats us subhuman. The other aspect of that, so there's the part where we can identify it. We need to come up with a plan of action. We really, really need a plan of action. We need a plan of action to rehab our image. We know that they're not going to sit there and just give it to us without, whether it's reparations, whatever it is that you're looking for from the government, from big business, they're not just going to give it to us, right? They've been profiting from it. They've been benefiting from it for so long now, that there is no way that they're going to just sit down, that they're going to just roll over, say it's okay, and we're going to allow you to be treated as a human being. Everything is built on this system of oppression. It is built on exploitation of human beings. And if you are at the bottom of that cast, the bottom of the barrel, we're going to continue to take advantage of you. So how do we change the image? Well, one is that we need I've been harping on it for the past month, and I'm going to continue to harp on it, but we need to make sure that we stick together as black people. They don't discriminate. Yeah, we're not a monolith. No, we're not a monolith, but they discriminate against us as if we are, as if it is one type of person. Black people, they discriminate against black people. They've done it since the dawn of this nation. They've done it for a long time. I can't say that this only thing that's happened has been the discrimination of black people by others forever. That'd be lying, has it? Because it has a. But what I can say is historically we can look at from the time that Columbus came on over here and brought his wicked ways with him. We've been discriminated against here in this country. We've been discriminated against on the continent of Africa. We have been discriminated against once they brought their flag planting ways, their colonialist ways, their imperialist ways with them here to this country. And they've done it for decades, for scores, for centuries against us as black people. And it is something that if you're not tired of it, then you really we have a problem. I've been on this earth for almost half a century, and it's tiring. It is extremely tiring that every single time you turn around, that this consistent racism, and part of it again deals with the image of black people. If you're black here in America, the image is that you are a broken family. The image is that you don't have it together. The image is that you're drug dealers. The image is that you're whores. The image is that you're not to be respected. And we lean into it. We lean into it. And it's one thing if you just didn't know any better. So when you look at older hip hop artists, back in the day, we had a variety of hip hop music. Back in the day, you had a variety of R&B music. Back in the day, the music that you had, there was a spectrum that you had. Today, if you want to be famous, if you want the money, if you're going to chase the bag, if that's all that's important to you is for you to get out there and just chase the bag. If that's all that's important to you is that you want to be financially good, if that's it, that's achievable. You can definitely do that, and you can leave everybody and every principle and every value system that you should ever have had. You can leave that behind, and we don't even need to talk about it. You get on that side, you can be on that side. I'm good with you. Stay on that side. And it's not saying that there's no value to money, and it's not saying that you shouldn't have a certain level of access to resources. It's not saying that it has a, but to say that greed and the level of greed, that we want to continue to have this level of resources, this level of access, that we continue to oppress others, that we continue to exploit others, that we don't look at people as human beings, that we look at them as things to be used. Somewhere along the line, some people, there was an old adage that I heard, and when I heard it, I really got into it, and it's that we used to be taught that we love people and we use things. And somewhere along the lines, we switch at 180 where we love things and we use people. And that is where we're at today, where we're looking at this situation over in the Ukraine. And us as black people at this point, I understand there's ADOS. But when we see it, and I understand we need to take care of the things that we need to take care of for ourselves here in this country, that is definitive. That is a fact. That is a level of unity that we need to get together. We need to be able to focus. We need to be able to do these things in a way in which we do it. But to be able to, but to do that and ignore the level of hatred that goes on around the world, it just bothers me. I give you an anecdotal example and of us as people in this world today. When I was growing up, I was blessed. I grew up with both of my parents, both my mom and my dad. And not only did I grow up with both my mom and my dad, I had a situation where my mom and dad, middle class, were able to sit down and to provide me a level of insight into the world that most people probably don't get. We were well traveled growing up. I remember going places, uh, just here, even the places here on this continent, like going down to Mexico or other islands like Haiti or other places. Just traveling was something that my parents they was an opportunity that they afforded me growing up that I truly appreciate. And it's amazing that you can go someplace, or we would go someplace like, let's say we were down there in Mexico, and you can get someplace where it's a village and there's huts down there, and they like dirt floors, but they have a TV in the hut. And people come up and they ask you, and this is around the time this particular instance where Magic Johnson had just uh, announced that he had AIDS, and people are looking at us, and the image that is portrayed that black people, we're all athletes, we're all entertainers, and it's like they seen us, and it was like, oh my goodness, how are you doing? How's Magic doing? As if I knew Magic Johnson personally, right? Is he okay? Like I can go like, oh yeah, Magic is fine, but that's the image around the world, right? That all black people are like this. Or you can go someplace else, right? If I went someplace else, the perception to be able to be around other black people around the world, you travel to another island or you see black people, all of a sudden there's a camaraderie among us, at least here in the Americas, wherein you see another black person and all of a sudden they take you under their wing. And there might be a treatment that has they're the help, they're working, they're doing this, but they will make sure that they take care of you. I remember my mom, she had a situation one time when we were out there vacationing, and there were black people that were there, that were the help, right? And that was where I spent most of my time when I was there. And I got to enjoy being around us, even though you're in this environment where I should be enjoying all the other amenities there. The thing that I really did get to enjoy was the camaraderie and the love that I felt from my brothers and sisters from the islands that were there, right? Because they took it as a head chef and everybody else made sure that they took care of us. They made sure that we were okay. And it's something that whenever I get the opportunity, and I'm not gonna say whenever, every time I get the opportunity, and I see another black person and I'm working with another black person, I take that opportunity to make sure I take care of them the same way that my brothers and sisters always take care of me. That no matter what the class might be, that you recognize that that's one of your brothers, that's your sister, and that they're a human being and that you take care of them as such. You recognize that the system is systemically set up in a way in which we take advantage of one another, right? You exploit people. That's how you make your money. You oppress them. You don't give them fair wages, fair value, fair anything. You make sure that what you do for them is that you give them the minimum amount of input to get the maximum amount of profit out of them. That's how the system is set up. But traditionally, that was not how we as black people interacted with one another. We interacted with one another in such a way. I apologize for hitting this microphone again. We interacted with one another in such a way that we took care of one another. We looked out for one another. And the more they get us to focus on me, I, as opposed to us and we, the more they get to focus on the breakdown of the family, the breakdown of the community, the less we work with one another, the less we take care of one another. And that you can see something online and we go with the party line of, oh, look at what's going on in the Ukraine to these Ukrainians, and oh, it's horrible on what it is that the Russians are doing to them. And we neglect or we forget the fact that they're abusing our brothers and sisters out there. Because make no mistake about it, while we might look at one another and talk about the distinctions and the differences between us, the discrimination that goes on against us is uniform. There's a monolithic discrimination against black people. It's ingrained in us. It's ingrained against us that as we go on, that is what's going to happen. And it happens continually. Tomorrow I'm bringing on a brother, and I apologize. And I should have did the whole like, comment, and subscribe at the beginning. I've been running this experiment to see whether or not that matters. And evidently it does matter. But at the same time, what I really want to focus on right now, and I'll get to that at the end, but what I really want to focus on right now is as we're looking at these situations that are going on around the world, we really need to get a hold of what our image is. Part of how we do that is that we need to change that image from the inside out. They're not going to just change it for us. As a matter of fact, one of the things that they want to do, they want to make sure that we continue to push out the bad image ourselves. They incentivize us in order to do it. You want to make money, we got some paths for you that you can make a lot of money as an entertainer, as an athlete. And as you go down those roads, here's the ones that we're really you can get into these other little genres of music. We don't have any more Public Enemies, right? Everything we don't have any more KRS-One. You don't have any more what you have now is you want us to just shake all the time. That's what you want on the air. You want to see us out there acting a stone cold fool. You want to see us out there degrading ourselves, raising our children up to be degrading to themselves. You want to see and that's what you're pushing. That's what if you want to figure out how you can make some money, that's where the advertisers are at. And that's the incentive they give you, right? So you want to make a change, the advertisers are who makes the changes. Why? Because everybody's looking for advertising dollars. And saying things that advertisers won't monetize is a quick way in order to train you not to do those things. So you want to talk about conscious rap, or you want to sing about songs that's not about getting laid or whatever, you can do that, but nobody's going to pay you for it. You're not going to get airplay for that, right? And we know from our history as black people whether it's here in the Americas, and hear that the teachings, a lot of it happens with music. If you talk about the griots back in Africa, they told the history with music. You think about how they teach within Islam, and the reading of the Quran when you're in the mosque is done musically. It helps to put that information in your head, to sound it down so that once you have it, it's there, right? And it's something that we really need to pay attention to. The messaging that we give to ourselves, the messaging that we give to the world about us. What do they put about us on there? They don't put our successes. They don't put the things that we do that's beneficial. They parade out the worst of us, or the worst things that we do, and that becomes our identity. And we really need to get better with our identity. We really need to get better with what we present as a people out to the world. We don't has a because otherwise what they has a you think about other countries, most of the other countries, they don't portray black people unless it's a negative light in which to do it. You think about the countries just here in the Americas. The only time you get the darker skinned black people in these other countries when they're going to sit there, and there's plenty of us out there. Whenever you travel, I guarantee you that if you are black and you leave this country, you will find that there is an overabundance of us out there. And you can find us all over the place, but you will not find us together many times. There's a reason I'm doing an episode on it. I'm gonna talk about it in depth then, but there's a reason why there's no such thing as a United States of Africa. There's 52 countries over there. The level of resources that continent has, so the continent has, the motherland has, however you want to refer to it, the level of resources they have is immense, right? It rivals out of China. China's even getting their hands over there in Africa. Why? Because everybody wants their hands on the resources that's there, and yet and still the people there don't control the resources that's there. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why they keep us separated from one another, not together, not able to be cohesive, right? As a matter of fact, there's a biblical scripture that actually goes towards that most people kind of brush over as well. The history is there. They hide it from us in plain sight. And many of us are happy to go along with that program. And it's bothersome to me that in over half a century that I haven't figured out a way to help address that besides to talk about it. There's other things we can do on a local level, but how do we address the system that it's enveloped in? Because that's what you're attacking at this point. It's not the individuals, it's not the people. There's good white people, bad white people, all that stuff, but they have come up in a system where it makes bad white people, right? They benefit from it from a system-wide aspect of it, that they look at it and they benefit from a system that is there that helps to make and continue to pump out bad white people. They don't understand the plight that black people have. It doesn't dawn on them. It doesn't click. Why? Because they're not experiencing it. They're not involved in it. It does not hit them until they get the direct evidence. And then they see it, and it goes directly against their worldview. And now it's a reprogramming thing, and that's a hard thing to do after you've already been programmed for 20, 30 years of your life that things are a certain way, that they operate this way. And then to realize that no, it doesn't operate. Then it's because you benefited so long and you know your kids are benefiting, it's really hard to make that glacier move a centimeter, an inch in another direction. So for me, at this point, it's just we talk about it. We talk about it every single day, and then we take action. And I would like to see us take more and more action. So one of the things I'll be doing, and it's going to be coming up tomorrow, Devon Carlo, he'll be on here tomorrow. We're going to talk about, he's in entertainment, but he's also in finance. And we're going to talk about how this financial system works and things that we can do in order to better our financial situation, because they're not going to help us do it at all. But our guest tomorrow, he's actually going to sit there and we're going to talk about how to help better our financial situation. What are some of the things that we can do? What are some of the steps that we can take? And there's a lot of information that's out there. There's a lot of things that you can do. Tomorrow, he has a little special group that we're going to sit there. We'll talk about tomorrow as well, and we're going to talk about that. The guest on Friday, he's going to be here. We're going to talk about the law and how it is that it impacts us. And these are brothers that are doing their thing. So my goal is we're going to spotlight Black excellence. That's what we're going to start doing. We want to change the narrative. We want to change what it is that we're looking at as far as us as a people. We're going to start spotlighting Black excellence. You don't know where to go if you need to patronize a Black business, whether or not these brothers and sisters are good. We're going to spotlight them. We're gonna turn the spotlight directly on those brothers and those sisters, and we're gonna give you information on Black businesses. Right now, we're gonna start off, and it's gonna be here locally, here in the Texas, Houston area. But that's not my goal. My goal is to make sure that we do this nationwide and eventually worldwide. I would like to get where we have our community being strong. That is my goal. If you're white, I'm not sitting there talking down against white people. I'm not hating on white people. What I am saying is the way that this works, it works in a way because I am very, 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 and if you can't tell, I'm extremely pro-Black. Doesn't mean I'm anti-white or anti-Asian or anti whatever else that might be out there, but I am pro-Black. And that means that I am going to take a very Black focused. I'm not saying African focused because there are descendants here that are either from or not from Africa, but there are Black people, right? My focus is on us here and worldwide, but I start here. I start at home first. So tomorrow, please join me as we welcome Devon Carlo. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about finance. We're going to be talking about entertainment. We're going to be talking about how we can, revamp, rehab the image of Black people because it needs to be rehabbed. It needs to be revamped, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. That when you see other countries such as those in Africa and our brothers and sisters are being abused and treated the way they are in the Ukraine, it should make you sick to your stomach. With that being said, do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to do me the favor of like, comment, and subscribe, but not just like, comment, and subscribe. Do me a favor, please. Share this link, share this channel with your friends. If you like what we're doing here, if you like the messaging that we're putting out, share it with your friends, share it with others. Make sure that everyone out there, because I say the only way this succeeds, the only way we succeed is if we do this together. And we need to be able to reach the next generation down, right? Because the reality is that a lot of us, like I said, I've been here almost a half a century. We're on the downhill slope. And what we're going to be able to accomplish, the benefit of it is going to be for the next generation. We're not looking at for me, I'm in that good ancestor mode. All right. By the time I leave the face of this planet, I want to leave it better for the next generation than for myself. I want to plant trees that I don't get to use a shade from. I want to have those trees that I don't get to see the full yield of the fruitage. And if you share that sentiment, share that thought process, that yes, we can do things. Yes, we can get some benefit, but we're really looking out for the overall holistic aspect of it for our people, for the community, and not just for ourselves on a regular basis. Not saying that you don't need to see any benefit ever, but understand that the majority of the benefits you're not going to see. Now, if you one of those people that you just want to get it out, get it in what you can, get in where you fit in, go for the gusto, get everything right now for yourself, then by all means, you can be selfish, self-centered, and you can sit there and you can look at me like I'm crazy in this. But my goal here today, tomorrow, and to the day that I draw my last breath is to make sure that we as Black people can get out from up under what we're dealing with right now. And to that end, like I said, I have several people that are lined up. We have 2 that are going to be here this week. Hopefully the other 2 will line out for next week as well. I'm planning on doing some collaboration with some other channels as well. Probably not some of them that you're used to or some of them that you know intimately, but I would very much like to do some collaborations with some other channels that you might not know or that you might not recognize. I'm reaching out to some of them right now, and one of them actually said that we can do something together. Smaller channels, But my goal at this point is I want to. I'm in that tortoise in the hair. Slow and steady is going to win this race for me. I don't need the microwave. I got a crock pot. I just want to see the change done. And at the end of it, I want to make sure we have a good, delicious, healthy, hearty meal that feeds us, as opposed to having some McDonald's, which puts poison in my veins. It's fast and it's filling, but the long-term effects is poison in my veins. So as we're going through this, again, I apologize for jumping on and having the technical difficulties, struggle streaming in the beginning, not being able to get on, and all on top of that, I honestly, even I was struggling. Part of the reason I was struggling because I wasn't even going to get on today. Today is the first. I was like, okay, I'm going to take the day off and put out more. As I get in here with this interview with Devon Carlo tomorrow and go through this whole process tomorrow and keep it going. But the more I read about that situation that's going on in the Ukraine, it got to me. You can probably tell I was on. What some people in my family say, "Why you mad, bro?" We tell them why you mad type deal. I think that's where I was at this morning, this afternoon, this evening. I was really contemplating maybe I did need to get on at all either as well at that point. But I really encourage you, please do me a solid. Do me a solid. Please, 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 please share this with your friends. See if we can get some more subscribers in here. See if we can start bumping these numbers up. Get this messaging out to everybody. If you like what we're doing here, let's see if we can get into it. Let's see if we can get everybody on board. And I know I didn't tell you at the beginning. I was running hot at the beginning. I apologize, but I love you. I care for you, fam. And may you always, always, always have peace in your life. And with that, I'm out.